Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Tom Clancy's The Division. I played it on the Xbox One. Be aware, I haven't gotten to any of the endgame content. I've put in about 24 hours, maybe 30 hours of actual playtime. But I have played around with the Dark Zone, and I've played a lot of the quests. So firstly, the story goes that New York has suffered a biological attack, and you as a Division agent, which is a super duper secret soldier basically, have been sent in order to restore normality to the quarantine zone. Basically stop looters, crazed gangs, and violent people. And that's really the vast majority of what your missions center around, and it's really seems to be the extent of the story. I can't say I'm fully blown away by it. It feels more like it was tacked on to a cool idea, something put in there to kind of hold the idea together. As for the sound design and voiceover work, I gotta say I think the voiceover actors did a pretty good job. You don't really have one. Your character is a silent protagonist, but the other folks around you, I think they do a pretty good job with what they have to work with. I say that because a lot of the characters are written to be really cartoony. I mean, just kind of stereotypical. You've got the mom who is like really a super mom. Like, she's just like, clearly she's a mom. You've got the mafioso, you've got a philosophy professor, and they're just so that to the extent where it gets cartoonish. I do think the sounds in the city are really good. I think they help bring it to life. They make you feel the devastation of what has occurred there. The guns, on the other hand, I'm a little disappointed by. I think they could be louder. They could be a more full sound. They sound kind of weak, quite frankly. And on top of that, the LMGs, SMGs, and assault rifles, sometimes the audio gets muffled or even muted on them. Or it'll bounce between being muffled and muted. Either way, it gets really distracting. This game is an RPG. Yeah, it's third person. Yeah, you have guns and you're shooting. But think of it in RPG terms. You shoot a guy in the head, it's not going to kill him. It's going to count as a critical hit. It might take a couple headshots to actually drop him. You can one-shot people, but that's more of when you're a higher level with higher level guns than your enemy. Leveling has an effect on your health and abilities, but gear and guns tend to do more to enhance those abilities than, well, anything else really. You can also enhance your gear and guns to further enhance your abilities. There are 3 basic talents or ability types. There's the medic, there's the damage guy, and then there's the tank. Each of those are based around the base you are building in the game, and upgrading that base unlocks more skills for you to use. Now, as for the guns in this game, I was honestly a little disappointed with the selection in the beginning. While the further I've gotten into the game, there has become a better selection. It generally just feels like a new skin for an old gun. And while I do like the different looks, and the more tactical guns give you slightly better stats, I would have liked just a wider variety in general. Going along with that, I think the game has a pretty weak character customization. You can't do a lot with the face and hair, and I was disappointed by that. I mean, you don't really have a goatee option, you just have beards. There's not a lot of hairstyles, there's not a lot of facial choices, you can't do really in-depth customization. I will say, however, there's a good amount of clothing options that you get throughout the game, and you can mix and match those, so you can vary your character from other players through that, but I would have liked a more in-depth character customization. Also, one other complaint, there is 0 stealth in this game, and I do mean 0. The closest to stealth you get is having a buddy of yours draw the enemy fire while you sneak around and flank them. There is no Splinter Cell level sneaking in this game. As far as the controls go, this is a really solid game. It's not the new gold standard, but it works very well. I personally just feel that it could have been tighter. The only real complaints I have are when I need to switch to my sidearm. The double tapping Y doesn't always seem to work. I also found that the rolling didn't always seem to do what I wanted it to. I'd be trying to roll in one direction and I'd roll in a different direction. Not every time, but generally when you've come to the point where you're trying to roll, you need that to be on point so that you don't die. And on to the graphics. I think this is a beautiful game. I really love the details in it. I think the world looks fantastic. New York looks great. The characters actually look really good. And this game has some subtle details that I love. There will be times where it is snowing in the game, and the snow actually builds up on your character. Like, you can see it on their hat, their gun, their backpack, their shoulders. To go along with that, there's some amazing lighting effects in this game as well, when the sun's rising or setting or just kind of peeking around the corner of a building. It looks great. They even went so far as to have the gun barrel heat up and start glowing when you've been pissing bullets for a while. Subtle details like that, I just always love. I love people who go in and make those details happen because it just adds a certain amount of extra depth to it. There are a few odd graphical glitches to go along with it though, like corpses kind of dangling through signs and hanging in weird ways, but hey, that just kind of happens in most games. And I'll address something that I said in my review of the beta, that I was worried about the amount of content. Well, I've put more than 24 hours into this game and I'm nowhere near beating it yet, so I've got to say that I was wrong. There's plenty of content. I will say that it does get to be a bit of a grind at times, but that is kind of expected from these pseudo MMOs. I mean, MMOs do that as well. So to wrap this up, I will say that this game is worth buying at full price. So in the comments below, why don't you let me know, shotgun, sniper, assault rifle, what gun would be your pick in this situation? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share or subscribe. Have a good one.